All right, guys, back at you with another quick video. I just wanted to show something on oil. Right here, you have WTI Crude. This is XLE. This is something that I play with. I want to own gas stations, right? So this was still a great trade. Still holding this. It's up 50% right now. I'm going to play this long term. It pays dividends, right? I'm totally happy with that. But here's the deal. If you look at the different runs that we had, this was a 6-year run. Okay, I picked a low point. I wanted to find a good average for some of these tops. They're pretty close up here, not tops, but you see the trend, right? This one obviously blew through that trend, but I think it's fair to look at the trend somewhere in the median around there. And I think we're going to see a similar um, trajectory with this. It may go higher and break back down a little bit, but I think overall, over that same time period, if you just watch my video about the hyperinflation, I think we could be facing that in the next 10 years or so, 2025, 2030. Go look at that chart. It's incredible. It's M2 money supply compared to the S&P 500 on a monthly over, since 1960, right? It's a pretty, it just looks like a hockey stick, right? But anyway, looking at this, it really makes me wonder because we had another 5-year run here, 142% gain, and it looks like we're setting up for another one. Of course, we have a lot more inflation this time. I think we are off to the races here. I could go back more and we could see just oil, but XLE didn't go that far back, so I'm just showing this time period. But looking at here, um, let's say, let's just look at this to get back to this zone, right? Now we can see this zone here broke this zone here, so we're looking for a new high. But even just to get a double top long term since May 14th to now, we're looking at 245% gain from the bottom of this, right? Let's do that from where we are now. Let's take a look here. This would be from where we are now, it's another 43% gain. I think that's pretty realistic. And look at the time frame of where that can happen. Where would we fall along this trend? So the odds are mid 2023, it shows down there. So I think that's very realistic. We got a couple of years for this to really play out, or a year and a half or whatever. I think that's pretty realistic. The question is, do we break that? I think the likelihood is high that we end up breaking that. We'll get to the price of that in a minute, especially the time frame, right? 2020. I know this was a weird situation as we shut down the economy, but let's start from this point, right? 2020. Let's go out 5 or 6 years. Okay, where are we at? We want to go to 25 to 26, somewhere around here. Are we going to be up in this zone? Right now, look at the gold line right here. Look where we are. Look, right? Oil. There was a top there. There was a top there. Do we top out again using? But on this chart, obviously we're higher than that right now. But this is by percentage. Remember. So let me oops, delete this line real quick. We can focus on XLE here. I'll get rid of percentage. Okay. Let's take a look at price along those lines. So let's look at that peak again right here. And we're still on this orange line here. That's a 252% increase from the bottom. And that puts us around $100 for XLE. We've been there before, so it's nothing new. The question is it a double top? And we can see it's about a year and a half from now if we stuck along this trend line. Now we have precedence, obviously, from these other 2 points, right? These are longer term trends. This isn't a Bitcoin type play, right? We're just going to go to the moon tomorrow. This is a longer term play. But if we are to continue along this line and go out, let's say another year, somewhere around here, we're talking around $119, $120 on XLE. But look at the time frame of that. I mean, that's a great long-term play. You're getting dividends the whole time. But remember, with inflation being a lot higher than it was in these other periods, you have to really ask yourself where we might go. We may break off of this line dramatically. I think we'll come back down to visit it. But regardless of that, I think we can make a good call right now. I am willing to say, let's even go out to, well, let's go to 2024. Let's pick a number here. Let's say January. So January 2025, I think the probabilities of XLE, oil, I believe is going to be much higher, but I think the probabilities of XLE hitting 130 are high or higher than not, right? So I think we're going to be up in this zone, if not at least oil being at 130. So anyway, that's my take on this. I think we got a good run here. It pays dividends the whole way. So I'm still holding this. I'm going to hold it for quite some time. Of course, anything can happen. Of course, Ukraine, right? We have Ukraine, we have Russia having these issues right now. We don't know what's going to happen with Taiwan and China. So there's other tensions that could cause some issues that could cause oil to spike, where we see another issue like this. We have a big rise. This went from 60 to 80. 60 what? Yeah, 62 to 80. I mean, that's a 30 some odd percent increase right there, right? So we can have something happen in the economy or politically that causes us to go way off of this trend, although I think we would come back to this for the long term. But yeah, I think from the bottom in March, we're going to see somewhere around a 330% increase to around $130 on XLE by 2025, or the very beginning of 2025. And you know what's funny? That number was very close to this. It's no different, right? That was a 6-year period I just showed. This is a 6-year period. I think it's very realistic. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video. Let me know what you think. Comment on here. Other users are watching these, so let them know what you think. Throw up a chart or a different idea, and help educate each other. So I'm on TradingView right now making this video. If it was being watched somewhere else, so I can't do certain things or mention certain things, otherwise they'll kick me off the platform here. So I'm talking about other social media places. But anyway, you may be watching this somewhere else, and you may not see the comments that are in TradingView on this. But if you did see this somewhere else, or somebody else shared it from somewhere else, then have that discussion. I think it's really important in the times that we're going into. And again, if you haven't seen the hyperinflation video I put out on TradingView, go watch that, because we're like in this zone right now of going parabolic, and that's the M2 money supply, and then compared to the S&P 500. I mean, they are just hand in hand, right? And we're right in about this zone right now, which tells me this trend starts at 1960, right? There's a lot of data. So I don't see any reason that they're going to change anything, right? They're looking at a small picture, and they're zoomed in, right? They don't see this parabola, just craziness building right here. Well, since we're in this zone, I think those numbers that I'm spitting out on XLE are very, very realistic nominally. Value-wise, we'll have to see. I mean, it comes down to, in a situation like this, hyperinflation. I mean, you're focused on eating and surviving. So if we ever had something like that, yes, you can see these stocks go to the moon nominally, but the question is, what does it buy you? The nice thing is they're selling a commodity. So I think obviously they're more likely to survive something like a hyperinflation. But everybody's still going to need oil. People are going to have a way to get to work. So I think these are, well, assuming you have a job in a hyperinflationary depression. I don't know. But anyway, I think these are very realistic numbers. So my call right now is somewhere around that $130 on the XLE by 2025. If not, we at least see $130 a barrel of oil.